if the rest of the world follows in our wake in withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accord and that sort of thing, then that would be disastrous because that could harm the future of our entire civilization, obviously. If he launches nukes, obviously, disaster. And he apparently, in meeting with experts on military policy, kept asking, why is it that if we have them, we can't use them? And so this is a guy who apparently knows nothing about nuclear weapons. So that's scary. But I would say the most likely thing that's going to happen, almost certainly, is going to be the reverberations and fallout from his tax plan. I mean, they're talking about like a 10-year gap of like $10 trillion as a result of his tax plan. I mean, cutting it not just for the 1% and the 0.1%, but as I said earlier, cutting corporate taxes to a third of what they are right now, repealing the estate tax. And what that does and why it's the scariest thing is that doesn't just hand over, it doesn't just redistribute a massive amount of money to the wealthiest people in America, but it also allows them to cut every progressive policy that they want, to defund Planned Parenthood, to cut, as they're already planning to, National Endowment for the Arts, National Institute of Science. All of those programs can be destroyed as a result of, well, we have to balance the budget, and now we're not taking in as much revenue.
Yep.
And the reason it's doubly scary is not just because with one fell swoop they destroy basically every progressive priority they want, and possibly cut Medicare and Social Security and things like that, but also we know how it goes down in America. Cutting taxes is always 50 times easier than raising taxes. And we saw that with the Bush tax cuts. They linger, even if they have a sunset date. And so when he cuts those taxes, it is going to be a Herculean effort required to ever raise them again, let alone to raise them to where they're at today, let alone back to where they were at in the first Clinton administration.
So I will say, I will give you this promise. If we have a progressive president next time around, and if I have anything to do with it, and which I very likely won't, right? But if I do, and if I have any influence at all, thanks to your guys and the size of the audience, never forget, right? We're not going to forget these tax cuts, and we're not going to just let them get away with it every time, right? And so they think, hey, man, every time we do the tax cuts, even if they raise them back up, which is very difficult, right? At least I get to keep all that money for those 4 years, right? I put it in my pocket. You're never going to see it again. And that's not going to pay for your kids' college education. That's going to pay for my, well, actually nothing. They can't
Third
even,
island.
No, they can't even buy an 8th house or a third island with it. When we're talking about, for example, the top 400 taxpayers that on average are going to get $7 million in tax breaks in just repealing Obamacare, let alone the other tax cuts. On average, $7 million on top of what they already get. Those guys on average make $318 million a year, okay? So my point is, no. If there is a progressive president, we're going to double the taxes on that group to get the taxes they avoided in those 4 years. Okay, and they will howl. They will howl. Let them howl. The more they howl, the more votes we'll get. Because if you say to a guy in the middle of Kansas, hey, do you think that guy who made $318 million should get to evade the taxes that he got to evade under Trump? He's going to say, hell no. Hell no. Okay? So I think it's good politics for us. It's good policy for us. And one last thing in terms of not letting people get away with things. The oil companies and the gas companies, et cetera, the ones that put all that carbon in the air and destroyed our ozone, they privatized all the profits and they socialized all the losses. So we bear all of the costs, okay? And they but they get nothing but the profits. We're not going to forget that either. So at some point, it's not about socialism. It's not about communism. I'm a capitalist. I believe in capitalism, okay? And I believe Nike's going to make better sneakers than the government would, right? But if you put those costs on us, I don't want to pay your costs. So if your product has a natural cost, you pay it. That is capitalism. And right now they're evading that. But next time around, they're not going to be so lucky.